All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Game of Thrones video for today, leading up to our last few episodes of the Game of Thrones series. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on the finale and whether or not we think the Golden Company is trustworthy or will they betray Cersei. Alright, so this is our second Q&A video for this week, leading up to our third last episode for the Game of Thrones series. That would be episode 4 of season 8. Remember, guys, we only have 6 episodes this season, and Game of Thrones is over for the long run. We'll never see the series again, which deeply saddens me. But man, has it ever been epic, and this ending should be super epic as well, too. Although, I should say, I think we've already seen what is probably our most epic episode with the Night King, and I am kind of shocked to see that the theory is sort of correct, that the Night King and the Long Night came first, and the actual final villain of the series is actually going to be Cersei, because between the two of them, I had thought the Night King actually would be kind of the final, you know, just in terms of like who's more fearsome or what have you. I would think that the Night King kind of would be, but you know, it's what it is. It's how things turned out, and power is power, right? Cersei's an awesome bad guy too, and she's been there since the beginning of the series. If you think about it, at the end of season 1, starting from there on out, you know, she's the one who basically, her and Joffrey, you know, she kind of let Joffrey run rampant and you know, killed Eddard. So even if she wasn't 100% behind it, it was his decision. She let him run amok. So that's what happened, and you know, so she's still here now. But we got to see her. You know, I mean, I think everybody at this point, like, we're all thinking, like, okay, you know, if they got by the Night King, they're gonna beat Cersei. There's no way Cersei is going to actually win this, you know, in the end. I mean, I would be absolutely, it'd be the biggest shock in history if Cersei somehow won at the end of Game of Thrones, like she was sitting on the throne in the very last episode. I can't see it, and I think everybody would be so upset about it that I can't see them ending the series that way. She's got to lose, right? Daenerys and Jon and the others, they have to beat her. You know, and if it's Daenerys who sits on the throne at the end, and maybe Jon dies in the process, or whatever happens, you know, I mean, come on, like, they gotta win, right? Like, you know, they've got apparently still both dragons did survive the long night, as surprising as that is, because I figured at least one of them would go down. I still do think that in this final battle, one of the dragons will fall, and probably Drogon will be the last remaining dragon, I think, as Daenerys' dragon, and maybe Jon will fall too. Maybe we'll see even more character deaths in terms of our main characters in this final battle than we saw versus the Night King and the Long Night. So we'll see about that. So this one came in from SouthPaw ThaPoet, and a few other people were discussing this one. And he basically says, Trev, both dragons survived, I think. My prediction is that the Gold Company, or the Golden Company, will betray Cersei. So I like that. I like that prediction, and it's true. We got to keep in mind. We got to remember she has the Golden Company bought and paid for, but they're paid swords, right? They're mercenaries. You know, the extent to which you can trust them is not that far. You can trust them about as far as you can throw them, because you paid them for their services, so they're gonna uphold the contract, but if it comes down to the wire where 2, you know, full-size adult dragons roll in and you don't have an answer for it, they might just all run, right? They might all turn on her and just all flee and just be like, screw this shit, I'm out of here, you know? Because at the end of the day, for them, it's just a job. It's not their house name. It's not their, you know, it's not their family name. They've been paid by her, but you know, whatever. I mean, that's only going to go so far, and it's never going to take it as far as people that, you know, are sworn to protect, like Stark men or Lannister men. You know, it's not quite the same thing. You know, when you buy someone's loyalty versus, you know, them deciding to be a part of your, you know, your overall, you know, family or let's say country or something like that. It's not quite the same thing, right? So I like that prediction. I think it's pretty good, and it might be true. They might not betray her in terms of, you know, stabbing her in the back, but they might betray her in terms of, like, they might see the dragons and then just be like, okay, let's let's go this way, and just, like, you know, leave, and, you know, something like that, right? Because certainly Cersei has the numbers right now. but that could change pretty soon. Sebastian Goričan says, best ever, be serious, come on. So I was surprised by this, and it was that after Sunday night when we saw the actual, the Long Night premiere, and everybody was just buzzing about it, everybody was really happy about it because it was such an incredible event-type episode. Not everybody, after seeing it, was that impressed by it. There was a lot of people who, they're like, I didn't like it, it wasn't that good. It wasn't as good as Battle of the Bastards, it wasn't as good as Hardhome, it wasn't as good as some episodes of The Walking Dead. A lot of you guys are Walking Dead fans as well, too, which is cool. And I hear that, we all have our favorite kind of episodes of certain series. And for me, one of my all-time favorites is What Comes After for The Walking Dead, which is Rick's final episode, which is still probably my all-time favorite episode, of any series, no matter what. But I'm not going to sit here and try to convince anybody that that more was put into it than was put into The Long Night. I mean, no way. I don't know how many millions that cost to make that episode, The Long Night, but it must have been a lot. And it must have been really, really hard to make, in comparison to any other show. So it was great. Personally, I loved it. But not everybody agreed. Like, some people didn't like it. It was dark at times, and that's true, it was. It was hard to see some stuff. That's true, right? A lot of the dead, when they were out in the field, you couldn't see it almost at all. And then when they finally were able to see it, it was like, here and there, and a lot of it was kind of like side screen and off screen, this kind of thing. So I get that because, of course, CG is hard to do, and maybe they're not as well practiced at doing zombies as something like The Walking Dead or something like that. But using more practical type of actors to play the undead characters. But these ones were kind of different as well too, because they were sort of like undead skeletons. And a lot of them were not necessarily even whole. Like, some of them might have been, just like very skeletal type of dead, right? So not exactly the same thing. But not everybody liked the episode as much as I did, which I am saddened to hear. Some people thought the ending, in particular with Arya, was a bit weak. So leave your comments below if you're one of the ones who thought that. It would have been cool to see Jon and the Night King in one final sword battle, and maybe you see Jon win or something like that. That would have been really cool. But at the same time, I get the sense, like, the way I think of the character as like a necromancer type of dead character is that he probably would lose to Jon. And I think he probably knows that. He probably would lose because, first of all, he's dead, so he's not going to be as fast probably as Jon, even though he can throw that javelin pretty fast, right? At the dragons, right? He's like launching the javelins at them, which is pretty cool. The ice javelins, right? The undead ice javelins. So that's cool. But he probably would lose because he's a necromancer type of character. So he raises the dead when Jon charges at him. And that's probably because I think personally he's not confident that he could beat Jon in a one-on-one, or maybe he doesn't need to try. It's almost strange that he even went in at all. You almost think, as a magician type of character, that he might stay, or a wizard type of undead wizard type of character, he would stay in the background and let his army do all the fighting, and he would just stay protected way in the back and not go in at all. That probably would have been the best, best option for him, was just stay away and let them finish everybody, and then go in after. If he'd have done that, he would have won for sure, right? But it's kind of, it's. Everybody kind of wants to see that alpha on alpha Jon versus the Night King sword battle type of thing. So we didn't really get to see that. Young Nation says, hey Trev, Daenerys still has an entire army of second sons and legions of Unsullied left in Meereen in Essos. At the end of Season 6, led by Daario Naharis, this could still have a part to play in the last war. And that's true, right? I forgot about that. That's a good point from Young Nation. That's a good call out. I forgot about that. They're going to have to replenish their numbers somehow. Would it make sense for her to take them now when she needs them? Absolutely it would. And then also the other part of that too is that what word is going to spread pretty quickly that they have defeated the Night King, that they have won the they've defeated the White Walkers, they defeated all the numbers with the dragons. They still have 2 dragons, and so you can see people joining their cause, because they're going to be like, well, if they beat them, Cersei's going to be no match for them at all, and would join in with the side they think is going to win. So if they think she's got this on lock, then that's what they're going to do. The governor says, what a shitty disappointment. So, Walking Dead fan, right? Which, I mean, I'm a Walking Dead fan too. I'm not going to speak about it like as if I'm not, I'm not involved in it. But his name is the governor. He's got a picture of Dave Morrissey as the governor right in the display. So that's fun. But yeah, some people did think it was a disappointing episode. I mean, I get it was a long build-up, right? It was many, many years build-up, and maybe some people are not, that big Arya fans, and if they're not, then, maybe they wanted to see Jon or somebody else instead. I don't know. Great Till Death says, I like Battle of the Bastards better, but only because of Jon Snow's involvement. He got kind of shafted in this one, and Arya took all the shine. That's true, but he can't always be the hero in every episode. Game of Thrones is an ensemble type of cast. Sometimes Tyrion gets the attention, sometimes it's Daenerys, sometimes it's Jon, and it's been Jon more than probably anybody else up until this point, I want to say. But, for Arya to get this one, I thought was pretty cool for a character because she's always kind of been there, and she's never gotten kind of a big... Well, she's gotten a lot of kills, but she's never gotten like one of these ones. Like this was the biggest kill of the series, I want to say, and for her to get it, for her character was really good. Yeah, next we got Antonio Diaz, who says, also, there were no ice spiders. So disappointing, right? So that's cool. Yeah, like undead spiders. Reminds me of like Warcraft 3 or something, which I used to play. The undead, they have like crypt fiends. They're just spiders, undead spiders. So for the undead, like what animals do the undead have that fight on their side? It's spiders. Spiders are like the most vicious, nasty, disgusting, insect killers of the animal kingdom, right? If you guys ever heard that joke from Kevin Smith, he talks about Wild Wild West, and I forget the guy's name who was involved in creating it. And it's like giant freaking spiders. Anyway, you can look it up if you want. Some of his stand-up is pretty good. Spiders are nasty anyway, and I think in Superman, one of the Superman movies, he fights a giant spider, doesn't he? I think so. So that's kind of funny. But no ice spiders. Antonio's pissed off there were no ice spiders. Well, listen, man. I mean, you got dragons, you got undead dragons, you got undead giants, you got undead. You got everything else they did, fire and all the stuff. I mean, I don't know how much you want. It would have been cool to see that, I guess. But I'm pretty satisfied with what they did show us. I mean, that's pretty impressive considering we got to remember this is not a full movie that you're going to go to the theaters to see. So we got to remember, right? Sometimes I think we forget because we kind of get so spoiled by Game of Thrones that really it's just a TV series, but it is and it isn't, right? Which we discussed recently. RGC 2005 said, so far all the spoilers have been wrong, which I love it. It's probably disinformation, right? They probably did it on purpose, which I love that because that way I just do my predictions outside of spoilers. I don't get involved in that at all. And as a result, that's how I just predicted that Arya would be the one to do it because I just figured it made sense. And apparently the showrunners and writers agreed with me because that's exactly what they did, right? So that's kind of awesome. I love it the spoilers are wrong. I'm so used to with Walking Dead, like you get, I do my predictions and stuff and then the spoilers hit after and it's like, whatever. But it's fun sometimes when they're wrong or it's disinformation and then, people think they got it figured out and then they're surprised when they watch it. Get them. That's good. Go HBO, get them, man. Jason Bullington says, it's hard to catch, but there are a couple of frames of both dragons alive in the preview for next episode. And yeah, I kind of see that too. You can see the tail of the one over top of the ships, right? I think. One of the ships. That's flying. I can kind of tell the difference because Drogon's really black, really dark gray to black. And then the other one is kind of a more greenish type of, little bit. He's dark too, but a little bit of green in there, right? So you can kind of tell. Then we got Jason Bullington who says, yeah, the couple, and then Jay Cooper. Why did no one fight a White Walker? Well, it's just the way it went that the White Walkers, they send in the troops, they send in the undead first, and if they can take care of the undead, then after they would fight them. But they're not going to come in and fight if they don't need to. They're going to let their minions do the fighting for them. And, well, really it was more than what Winterfell could handle. Winterfell could not defeat that, all of the dead that were there. So there was really no reason for them to. It was just Arya assassination that was able to win them this fight. Without that, everybody would have died. No question about it. Ray Watts said, did anybody see anything? Damn, it was too dark. So yeah, another person about the darkness, which is true. It's legitimate concern, right? Legitimate concern. And then a couple more. This episode probably cost half of the season's budget, $50 million, right? Probably did with the CG. Probably did. I mean, the dragons in the upcoming episodes going to cost a bit too, but this episode right here would have cost them a lot to make, and it would have been really, really hard to make. But it was worth it. I hope we get one more like this in the final last war battle that's even half as good as this one. But for some reason, I tend to sit here and think, I don't know if it'll be as good as this was so amazing. I don't know if the final battle with Cersei will be as good as that was. But if it is, if it isn't, that's fine. Either way, it doesn't matter. Because the series is winding down anyway. We really just want to see who's going to win at this point, I think, in the end, right? And I think we all kind of know that, Cersei's not going to win. At least, I don't think she will. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll throw us through a swerve, right? That's an ultimate troll swerve right there if Cersei wins. Brian Atcham with our last one says, now the Night King is dead. I hope they wipe out that traitorous Lord Glover and give his castle to someone who actually fought for them. Who agrees? Yeah, that's true. Anybody who didn't fight for them. But they're going to need to replenish their troops too. Anybody who did not fight for them, though, Dracarys, right? Dragonfire, die by dragon flame. So maybe. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that'll be it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think about the Golden Company and Cersei and how you're feeling about that episode 3. Was it the best episode ever for you? Or were you sitting there thinking like, no, there's been better and there's been better in other series too? Let me know what you think. Thumb up this video, share, favorite it, and subscribe at the bottom left if you're new. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.